Oh, me. So I get started live here in this real chilly morning. Get my hands warmed up. Oh, man. See if I can get a few people in here. Hey, Jamie. Hey, Jamie, how are you doing? I'm up here at the shop. I don't know if you can see over my head. I got a new project in here for Jim to work on. Are you in Florida? Yeah, it's chilly. It's chilly. It's 28 degrees, I think, a while ago when I checked it. A little bit chilly here inside the shop. Get my little electric heater going down here. This little foot warmer does a pretty good job, but takes a little bit to heat me up here on these cold mornings. I don't heat the entire shop because it's too much and it's noisy, and I don't want to waste our good fuel for me sitting up here. But it's chilly in Pensacola, is it? Oh, okay. Well, it's chilly up here in Cherryville. That's for sure. It's the frost is definitely on the pumpkins. That's for sure. But like I said, if some people can see my new project, well, let me see if I can lift it up so you can see it. I got a 56. I got a 56 Pontiac Chieftain that I bought last week. One that Jim and I are going to try to restore and get in good shape. It's got a lot of work to be done. It's got a lot of work to be done, but it's another project to go along. You know, we're still working little by little on the 55, doing different things on it. But we've got the majority of the things done. We got some major body work we're going to do on this one day, but right now it's drivable. We can use it and take it to some old car shows and stuff. Yeah, I figure it's all going to be under the same umbrella before long. Uh, there's going to be a lot of uh, uh, intertwining or interlining of all the express and freight and everything. It's too big of a corporation not to do it that way. I mean, anytime you cut down on duplication of services, I think you're making yourself more profitable. And there's no sense in having uh, competing trucks going down the road when you could do it with fewer amount of trucks and fewer amount of people doing the same thing. And I would imagine that's what they're looking at is maximizing their equipment and everything. I mean, it's silly. We've got a FedEx freight trailer coming back empty somewhere, and they could stop and get some FedEx ground freight and move it and things like that. And I know there's been times that has got to happen, and that's one thing they try their best to do is to minimize empty miles, and because empty miles make money. I mean, they make the contractor money because the contractor still gets paid, but they don't make FedEx any money. So I would imagine that they're trying to minimize things like that. Hey, Kevin, where are you at right now, Kevin? Yeah, well, and that's the thing about it. I mean, they already own the business, and just combining the business. I mean, anybody in their right mind realize if you've got people over here and people over there doing the exact same service, and this one gets a half a load of something, and this one gets a half a load of something. If you combine it and make one full load, it makes more sense rather than trying to keep them separated. Having things separate all the time does not pay the bills as good. So I would imagine that's what they're looking at. I mean, I don't know for sure. Excuse me. I might have to take a little drink here. Clear out my throat. Oh, you went to Swift, Springfield, Missouri. Okay. Well, Swift's a big company. I hope you get treated well with them. Hey, James, how are you? Well, the pup trailers, I mean, just like I was talking about, Jamie, I mean, if you're going to a destination and you can drop off one of the pups in line, say if you're going like here to Beckley, West Virginia, and then you got on some others that are going on up to Charleston, so if you dropped off one and you don't have to break down but part of it, I mean, you can drop off one and pick up another, and that's what they've always done. For instance, if I was going to, I mean, if you were going from, say, Savannah, Georgia, you could go to Savannah, pick up another trailer that's loaded at Statesboro, then from Statesboro and Savannah on up to Atlanta and switch out and then come back and drop off things the same way. You could do things like that. That's the purpose of those pups because, I mean, they've got it down to a science, that the 28 footers are better for them like that because of the fact that they can zone off different things and make combination runs, and the combination runs is what makes them money. Well, I'm glad you are doing good, James. Oh, okay. Well, if you like running all 48, you'll run it with Swift because they run all 48. That's for sure. I think they'd run 50 if they could. They could figure a way across. But that's the way it works. As you guys see, I got my hands in my pockets this morning. It's chilly up here, but the little foot heaters kicking in pretty good. I'll be warmed up before long, and we'll get things rocking and rolling. But speaking of FedEx, I mean, it's a pretty smart company. I mean, I did well with them. I mean, it was tough work, and it's getting tougher. I mean, because they are like you're saying, they're combining the regulations. They're combining the different entities. I said that wrong. They're putting express and ground and freight a lot together, and they're going to work it that way. I've always wondered why they didn't initially, but it has come to fruition. I mean, I saw it early on back in the early 2000s. I kept thinking, why do you have an express, a ground, and a freight? I said you could combine these together, and they eventually did. I never did see it happen. I mean, I didn't have to partake in it and anything, but I knew that it probably would happen eventually because it just made sense to me. I mean, me as a layman, just looking at the work and everything that was out there, I always thought that would be the smartest thing, and I often thought that it would be better as a contract instead of labor. And see, that's the other thing. The FedEx ground and is contracted labor, and the express and freight are employees. And with the cost of employees and everything going up and up and up, and all the things that they have to supply them with, I figured this would come about before long, and it has. And eventually, it'll be all one company and nothing nothing will be segregated out, I would imagine. I mean, they'll just say, if you want this kind of freight, we'll send it here, and if you want this kind of freight, we'll send it there. I mean, that's what'll happen eventually, I think. Well, yeah, and like you said, Jamie, that just combining real estate. I mean, you can imagine if they got terminals with express freight and ground all in one area. If you combine it, it would save a lot. And there's a lot of times they could do it that way. I mean, years ago when we first started as RPS, we actually had combination terminals in a couple of places that would have roadway and RPS in the same terminal, and because they were doing that very same thing, combining cross dock operations together, and because it was all owned by roadway at that point. And then roadway sold, when they split all that apart, roadway went to Yellow and RPS went to FedEx and all that sort of stuff. It changed that, but it it they threw it right over to another person that had similar operations or bigger operation. And I always thought, I said, well, that's the way to go. And then I think, it's just simple math. You do simple math and look at the contractor model as opposed to the employee model. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out the contractor model makes you a lot more money because you're taking a lot of expenses off the table as an owner by having the contractor own the tractors and own the trucks, the vans, and everything else, as opposed to the company. And then you're just moving the freight. Yeah, that's right, Kevin. Yeah, XPO has done some of the same things, although I don't think XPO's contractor model, but they did do a lot of combination there. Hey, Jeff, how are you? But it's going to be it's going to be uh, a lot of changes over the next few years for everything. I mean, you think about it, Amazon coming on the horizon with all their trucks, and they're finally learning the system. And I thought it was going to take them forever, but they're learning the system pretty good too. And although I wouldn't want to be an Amazon contractor, but the Amazon still hadn't. I still don't think they're doing their line haul right, and they're just. I don't know. It's different. Oh yeah, the big get bigger. That's for sure. That's for sure. Oh, do they? They XPO's contracted in some divisions. I haven't kept up with XPO, so I really don't know, Kevin. I've not looked into that and everything, so I don't know. Who is Horizon? Oh, I guess I might have been using the phrase on the horizon or something. I don't know, uh, but no, there is no horizon that I know of. Yeah, yeah. Amazon's not a good investment for a contractor. I've been there, done that, did it, and don't want to do it again. Well, of course I'm out completely, so I'm never going to do it again. I'm never going to contract with anybody, FedEx or Amazon. Uh, those days for me are behind me. They're I'm they did me well for 34 years, but I don't want to be involved with the trucking business anymore. I say that though, and we got a FedEx truck right outside the door here. I got one of Landon's trucks we're working on, and uh, and I don't know why that door is not completely down. Hold on one second. I'm gonna shut a door. I got one of my garage doors up a little bit. Oh, me. I guess y'all heard the garage door. I believe I'm going to have to put a new gasket on that on the bottom. It's letting air in. I don't want to let any air in if I don't have to. We may have to check into that door. Because these doors are getting a little age on them. This building is about, what it is. This building is 20 years old now. So it's getting some age on it. I built it before my son got married, and he'll be married 20 years this year. So that's how I can always keep up with how old it is. But yeah, I had to. Yeah, I looked over and I could see more air or see more daylight underneath that door than I normally do. So I decided, I said, well, that's a little bit of a breeze coming in here. I believe me and Jim are going to have to put a gasket on the bottom of that door so it shuts up better. But that's another project for Jim Boy. Like I said, I'll show everybody there's a new project up there on the lift that you can see. My 56 Pontiac Chieftain that I purchased this past week. It's in pretty good shape. We're going to replace the floor pans. They got a lot of rust and rot. The body is in good shape. The body's straight and not dented and dinged up. And like my 55 here is, I've got a lot of that kind of body work. I got some little surface rust on it. Nothing's rotted through on the body panels or anything. The body's, to be almost 70 years old, the body looks pretty daggum good. And the motor, Jim was impressed with the motor. The motor sounds good. It's got a V8, like a about like a 289 or 283, or maybe a 3. We're having to check and see what it is, but it's like a 283 motor in it, only the Pontiac version, whatever that was. Somebody can probably look it up. Whatever a 1956 Pontiac Chieftain had in it. It's a V8, but it runs smooth. It runs. It was a rebuilt engine. What the guy had, he said it had been rebuilt, and it looks like, like a new starter on it, and the motor, like I said, sounds good. We had stopped up carburetor to begin. We did a lot of work on just getting things loosened up and got it going. But that's the new project for the shop and that sort of stuff. But I think it'll make a nice one for us. We like these project cars, and that one will be a different one. I've got to put all new brakes on it, and brake lines, and the suspension on the front end is, all the bushings are wore out. We know that. Of course, bushings and shocks and the springs are completely flat in the back. So they're definitely wore out and that sort of stuff. But it'll be a good project for us. And between that and the landscaping we're doing out here, Jimmy's been doing a lot of landscaping for me and cleaning up. And so we're just trying to get all that cleaned up too. And I'm going to move my 2 cargo trailers up here beside the shop and make it so I can utilize them. I may start doing my show from inside there, because I've got the one cargo trailer's a real nice one. Got cabinets and all kinds of stuff in it, and I'm gonna probably try to utilize it and make it sort of a little mini office, which would be smaller and would be more compact to heat and air condition too. And if it's right beside, in other words, if it's just right outside this building, it'll be nice for me. Hey, Joey, how are you? Are you getting any snow up your way, Joey? I know you. I noticed you weren't in here. You got your health back right now, Joey? I hope you're feeling better. Of course, it'd be tough out working in all this snow and everything that's going on. Yeah, well, I imagine the Pontiac parts are going to be a little bit harder than Chevrolet parts. Some things can interchange, but we've been. You'd be surprised how many parts supply places there are out there. Uh, but as far as actual needing Pontiac exclusive parts, I don't think I'm not going to be too worried about that. But we'll manage. Of course, we got the machine shop here. We can make some of our own parts and that sort of stuff. So that's the whole purpose behind that. But it being rare a little bit since they don't make Pontiacs anymore. It's going to be. I think it'll give a little air of something different. And I always liked Pontiacs and Buicks and stuff. My father-in-law used to always have Buicks, and my wife likes the looks of this because it reminds her of one of the older Buicks that her dad had. So she's sort of excited about getting this one fixed up, and I think that kind of harkens back to a memory for her because her dad, like I said, used to always have the nice Buicks of that era. So she remembers some, you know, 50 model Buicks that her dad had. So and and like I said, the Buick and the Pontiac look more similar than the Chevrolet. So I think that's what's got her excited. So we'll see. We'll see what we can do with it. It's fun to think about it. Oh yeah, happy wife, happy life. That's for sure. And but it is. She's as excited about it as anybody about getting it fixed, and she's wanting to get it fixed up and make that as a make a little cruiser for she and I. And it's got a bench seat in the front, so she and I can sit next to each other like we used to when we were dating. Uh, or we can slide all the way across and not be close to each other, whatever our preference. Yeah, I saw where Dirt Boss bought him a nice little excavator. Uh, I told him if he keeps buying all this stuff, I'll have to make another trip up there, get him another care package, won't I? The paint scheme on it's we're going to keep it red and white like it is. Every one that we look at is, either like blue and white, red and white, red and black, a lot of different paint schemes, but we're just going to keep it what it is, that red and white, and just, spiff it up. Well, thank you, Omar. Well, that would be good if you want to get a contract with FedEx. Like I said, FedEx was a good company for me for 34 years. I cannot complain. FedEx, through FedEx, I'm able to obtain what I have right now, even though I'm from not with them anymore. I'm able to reap the benefits of owning these two shops that I have and owning all the equipment to do things that I like to do myself now. I mean, I'm taking a lot of different pieces of equipment that I previously purchased with FedEx, and I'm able to use them now. I didn't go through and start selling off all of my equipment. I sold off some, but I retained a majority of it, and by doing that, I've been able to, uh, have some things to work with. No, it's not an Oldsmobile. It's a Pontiac, Joey. Yeah, yeah. I've got it's a 56 56 Pontiac Chieftain. And since you're late in the game, I don't know if you can see it or not. See it up there on the rack. But that's what we got. And we hopefully we'll be able to let me move this a little bit here. Excuse me there. I'll move my camera around just a little bit. You bought a Komatsu loader too? I saw he had a Komatsu track hoe that he bought. I didn't see the loader. I must have missed that episode. I'll have to get up with Mike and chat with him. See if there's anything down here in parts that I've got that he could use. I've got a bunch of teeth if he needs any bucket teeth and stuff like that, but he may not need that. But I had a bunch of those left over that I'll probably never use if he ever needs any teeth for a bucket. Yeah, well, there's a lot of them that if they must be doing express work then, because the only one that had to be well, I mean, I guess he could be doing it for ground too, if FedEx ground contractor wanted to go there. It is what it is. I could have stayed on, I guess, doing FedEx ground work and big truck work had I wanted to, but I really didn't want to do that. I was to the point in my life that when I shut down with FedEx, I wanted to cut off the shop part more or less. I was ready to retire, basically, is what it is. And Jim was the same way. And of course, now Larry's still working. Larry still works. He works for Landon Walker, who's bought a couple of my routes. And so he stayed on with Landon. But as far as everybody else, it's down to just Jim and I right now. Jim and he doesn't want to do heavy duty truck work either. He likes what we're doing. We're working, like I say, working around the shop, working with the old cars and stuff like that. And to me, that's a little bit more relaxing. It's not demanding. I'm not on any schedule whatsoever. So if Jim needs to take a day off, he can. If I need to take a day off, I can. Whatever our schedule says we need to do, we do it. I mean, Jim took some time off earlier this week. He'll probably take some off in the coming weeks. I know he will. He's got some planned. And that's the way we like to do it. Just kind of have a relaxed situation. And that way you're just not putting the pressure. You're not putting the pressure on yourself to get something else. I mean, I'm just not, yeah, that's right, James, no stress. And that's what I don't want stress. Stress put me into the physical shape that I'm in now. I mean, 34 years of stress dealing with trucks and drivers and dispatchers and equipment failures and everything else that you can think of. That's what put me under the knife with, open heart surgery anyway. And it'll do it. Stress will really take its toll on your body. And so that's one reason that I'm glad that I'm out of this. I mean, while you're young and you need it, it's a good thing, but I'm not young and I definitely don't need it anymore. I sold it, got my profit out of the business, and I'm moving on. And that's what it's all about for me. I guess I could have kept on working until the day I died. And then, but I want to kind of reap some of the benefits that I had and reap some of the good times. And seriously, the worst part about it is my physical condition. I can't breathe as good anymore. I've had all kind of different tests done, and they've said that my lung has scarring tissue around it. It's the reason I can't breathe as deeply as I used to. I can't walk as far. I can't stand up and be strenuous as much as I used to. I tire real easy. So I'm trying to make the best of a bad situation. I mean, I know the old the old ticker is going to quit on me one day, and I'm just trying to enjoy life as much as I can while I can, and that's my goal right now. Is just to enjoy everything to the max, uh, because I know I've got a lot less time in front of me than I have behind me. Yep, it is. It's the name of the game. Yep, and I try to be positive. Even though I know I'm in the waning years of my life and everything else, I'm positive about it. When my time comes, it comes, and I'm not going to worry about that. I hope to see some achievement. Uh, I like to see my grandson graduate from college, and maybe live it to see him get married one day, and hopefully after college, and things like that. There's different achievements that you feel like would give you a lot of gratitude and make you feel good, and those are things that I'm looking forward to. Uh, but I'm not pushing any time. I want to live everything to the fullest, and hopefully that's what I'll be able to do. Hopefully that's what I'll be able to do. Well, I hope so too, Omar. I hope to be out here. I've got to get on some FedEx videos. I'm getting tons of emails and comments and all kind of questions. I still have a lot of people that want to hire me to be consultants and stuff like that. And I had to tell them, I said, unfortunately, what part of retired do you not understand? Uh, I take retirement serious. Uh, I'm not going to, I mean, I'll convey some information about FedEx of what I know, what I can help somebody with, uh, and of course, things are changing dynamically, uh, or dramatically, you might say, as we speak. I mean, the combination of FedEx Ground and FedEx Freight and FedEx Express, all that's changing the dynamics on that. And so, that's, I've got limited, I don't have an unlimited amount of knowledge, but I've got some limited knowledge of how to do the operation. Uh, like I said, there have been changes since I retired, since I sold out. So I'm not privy to that. I hear a little bit about it, but I've not had to deal with it firsthand. So I'm not an expert on that, but I think the general knowledge of how to operate a FedEx Ground uh, operation that I still know, and like I said, I'm not having to deal with it on a day to day basis, but that's the part that I like. I don't want to deal with it on a day to day basis. I don't want to fall back into the clutches of that type work and that type stress. That's the whole purpose. I mean, it's good because I built up a huge business. I made some money. I'm able to retire. I'm able to live and talk about it. And unfortunately, I've had some friends that one of the contractors that I sold out to, he and his brother got killed a couple of years ago. I mean, after I sold to him, he lived a couple of years, and he was young. He was in his 40s and got killed in a car wreck. And so we never know. We never know how long our life is going to exist, and we can be snuffed out in a heartbeat, just like he was. And he was pumping it out. He was doing big business. His business was booming, one of the largest contractors in the Southeast. And then he was snuffed out in just a few seconds. Oh yeah, it's very stressful. There's a lot of stress, Omar. I mean, there's no way ifs, ands, and buts about it. It's a stressful job because it demands a lot from the contractor. And these contractors that there's some people that want to get in there and just say, "Oh yeah, I've got it nice and easy. I can do this, that, and the other," and let everybody else do it for you and go play golf. And yeah, those guys might last like that for a small amount of time, but longevity is not going to be on their horizon, I don't think, because I think they'll definitely, uh, I think they'll definitely be taken down by being lax about it. I mean, I've seen too many. I mean, I've seen some even in the Charlotte area and the Savannah area that did that very things, that they would get managers and all these other people to help do stuff, and then they'd go off and they'd be on a vacation in the Bahamas. I mean, they were having the time of their life until the job was no longer there. I mean, I saw a contractor that had 20 or 30 trucks go down because of that very thing. He got so stretched out and had too many managers and too many expenses and too many truck leases and all kind of things. And next thing you know, uh, he couldn't pay his bills. I mean, so it takes a good manager. It takes a good owner operator manager to make FedEx ground contract work. Hey, Aaron, how are you? I'm glad to see you jump in here. Yeah, but those are the things that really hold true for just about any business. I mean, you can't let somebody else run your business and have it successful. I mean, I even had that with my parts business. After I started the parts business, I mean, bought out the Napa store, I wasn't able to run it and kind of relied on other people to help me. And it definitely didn't get run as well as it should. I mean, we increased the revenue there and we brought it back to some degree. But then when I had my heart attack and was I was kept away from everything, Napa and trucking and everything, it made a huge difference in how I was able to run things. And I was not able to dedicate enough time at the Napa store to make it successful as I would have liked to have done. But that happens. I mean, like I said, I sort of aged out on it. Yeah, well, that's true. That's true. I mean, and having good employees, having good drivers, having good people, even at the parts business, it's hard to come by. It's hard to come by, and it's hard to get some that will have the dedication that you need. I mean, too many times people just want a job. They want a job, and they're not interested in helping you improve your business. All they're interested in is making wages and going on home. And it's hard to get a dedicated uh, a dedicated employee that sees the big picture and they will let you know that if you're if you get to doing better and everything, your things will be better for everybody. But that's life. That's life as a small businessman. Like I said, you could be selling donuts or selling parts or doing anything, any kind of service, owning a shop and then having mechanics work for you. And just anything like that, you have those same sort of problems. I mean, it's always you're it's a people's game. I mean, you've got to be able to have people to appreciate what you've got, what you're trying to build. I mean, I learned that early on when I was a kid as a curb hop and working for a gentleman, that owned the restaurant. And, you know, you envision the fact that maybe the guy that owns the restaurant is making a ton of money, but in reality, he's probably struggling, and the employees at the restaurant probably made more money than he did because of all the expenses he had. I mean, I saw those things firsthand. So it's always a struggle for a small businessman, and but I'm glad we've got enough entrepreneurs in the nation to do things like that, because that's how uh, that's what feeds the whole economy for the United States, is all the entrepreneurs we got. Let me take another drink. I'm about to lose my voice, guys. Oh yeah, yeah. Aaron talking about the bills catch. Yeah, those bills catch up with you real quick. Well, not really. As far as FedEx is concerned, there is no return back to. I mean, FedEx. I mean, if a contractor takes over a certain amount of routes or whatever, a contractor owns it from there on out. Uh, I don't. I don't think they'll ever revert back to being, well, let's let a driver have it. That won't be the possibility. I mean, that driver, if he was a uh, driver and wanted to be a contractor, then decided not to be a contractor anymore, all he's got, only other option he would have would be to go work for a contractor, not the company. I mean, because I think the company is weeding out the paid drivers like they've had for the past 40 years. Those paid drivers, they're retiring out, and the ones that aren't retiring, I would imagine, will have an opportunity to go work for a contractor or something like that. So that's always a possibility, but that seems to be the trend of what's happening. Now, there are going to be certain areas that they'll probably keep uh, a certain amount of drivers still on with FedEx Express. At least that's what I'm hearing. It's sort of a hybrid situation where part of it's contractors and part of it's drivers. But I think the contractor model will win out, and you'll only see contractors at FedEx Express before long. Also, we'll see. I don't know. Uh, it just see if it follows through with the test of time. Well, guys, as y'all can tell, I'm probably about to lose my voice here, and before I lose it completely, I'm gonna call it a day. So I've enjoyed talking to everybody. We talked a little more FedEx than we did usual, but maybe the FedEx people that like to listen to me run on my mouth will enjoy this if they play it back. So y'all take care, and we'll talk to you later, and uh, we'll see what transpires this next week. See you guys.